Howdy, gang. Doesn't look like there's anybody in here right now, which is okay. Even if nobody shows up for the live stream, you can always watch it on the replay. I want everybody to welcome Jack back to the stream. He is with me once again. And I have some more Frederick's Blood Orange Italian Soda in honor of me talking once again about Fulci. And tonight we're going to be discussing, was Fulci, in everybody's opinion, the true Godfather of Gore? And everybody's going to throw, if I have anybody that comes in here. And there's my dear husband. Hello, dear. You may be the only one in here with me tonight. But I know which side of the fence I'm on as far as the title Godfather of Gore and Fulci. But if we have, Steve, you can chime in if you'd like. If we have anybody else come in here, or even if you watch this on the replay, if you want to put in the comments either yay or nay, and you can give your explanation of why you think that way. Steve, you say Herschel Gordon Lewis did it in the 60s. Now, would you call Herschel Gordon Lewis the Godfather of Gore instead of Fulci, Steve? That's interesting. I love Herschel Gordon Lewis's stuff. But I usually, when I think Godfather of Gore, I always think of Fulci, and maybe that's because I don't think he was a self-proclaimed Godfather of Gore. I just think that that's what several people have called him. You say you heard that before, Steve? I probably have too, and just, forgot about it. But if we have some people come in here a little bit later, before I get off of the stream for the night, feel free to put your opinions in the chat. And if you don't get to watch this live, like I said, you can put your opinions, your thoughts, and stuff like that in the comments for the video. Before I get to this little discussion, which I really don't think it's going to be very long if it's just me and Steve in here. Because, I like I said, I don't like to just keep rambling on and on and on ad nauseum. If, no offense to Steve, but if there's nobody other than him to bounce things off of. Steve, you say his doc was named that. Herschel Gordon Lewis or Lucio Fulci, Steve? I don't know. If that was to do with Fulci, I don't think I've seen it. And if it was to do with Herschel Gordon Lewis, I don't think I saw it either. Herschel Gordon Lewis. Steve, do you have that documentary? I'd kind of like to see that. It might be something, because I've really gotten into these horror-related documentaries in the last few years. You got it somewhere? Okay. You got it on a hard drive somewhere, you got it on a disc somewhere, or both, maybe. But while Steve's, considering answering that, I wanted to get a few housekeeping things out of the way before we actually get into this discussion. Now, I was planning on disc for sure. Okay. I may have to look through the myriad of discs that Steve's got over there. You know what, though? I was going to show something, and I forgot to bring it back here. So I will be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and I meant to watch part of this so I would be able to give y'all my thoughts on the transfer. However, and Steve knows how I am. I got distracted fiddling around with something else and didn't get to it yet, but I'm definitely going to sit down and watch at least part of this when I get done with all the things I need to get done for the night. And that is that I finally got my 4K of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Let me tell you a little story about this. It's story time with Dana. So I pre-ordered back in August the steelbook version of this because I thought the steelbook looked pretty cool. And I was like, great, I'll get it October 15th. Well, they it I kept waiting for it to say it was getting close to being shipped, and then a few days before it was supposed to be released, they kept saying they were temporarily out of stock. I'm like, how can you be temporarily out of stock of a pre-order? And they said they were working very hard to get them back in stock at Amazon. Well, Steve said maybe they oversold them. And I said, again, what is the use in doing something 2 months ahead of time and pre-ordering it if they're just going to say, oops, I'm sorry, we've already oversold our stock, we've got to get more in? And then Steve told me he thought he had saw on Blu-ray.com that it had been pushed back to November. I could not find that. I'm not saying Steve's a liar or anything. I'm just saying I couldn't find that. Now, somebody else that watches this, feel free to comment if you know more information. But now Amazon is saying that it'll take 1 to 2 months. It might be November or December before you would get the steelbook. And I was like, holy hell, I'm not, doing that. So I just went on and canceled that order and just got the regular 4K because I was like, my gosh, I just want to see it in 4K, right? So I will have to get back to everybody on how this looks. In any event, I am really, really excited about it, though. All right. So back to what I was talking about before I remembered I wanted to show that off. Was that I had planned to do a Friday Foolish tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time with Candace. However, she had left me a message earlier telling me that her and Chris were headed out to Horror Hound on Friday at some point because she says she thinks that they've been without water for a little bit at their house. They've been having to go other places to take showers and people in the family and stuff like that. And Candace says that Chris probably got that hotel room. I don't think this is anything she wouldn't want me telling, so that he could take a nice, relaxing hot shower before they went to the convention, stuff like that. Because she says, really, it's not too far of a drive for her, but in any event, they're headed up to Lexington for Scarefest tomorrow at some point. So I'm like thinking, they may either be on the road or already in Lexington. And I would not want to put them on the spot and say, hey, I need you to do this Friday Foolish with me. So I have left a message for her, but haven't heard back yet, telling her that I could do, and I could do this at any time tomorrow. It just doesn't matter. And what I was thinking about doing it just doesn't matter on was starting your own online shop. Explaining the ins and outs and the pitfalls that I've run into so far doing my first online shop, without any help from like Etsy or any of those other companies that you set up shop at. So, if you don't have Friday Foolish tomorrow, you should have a It Just Doesn't Matter from me at some point tomorrow, as well as a pre-recorded Terror Time tea. And hopefully I will remember to fix tea. Also, no watch alongs this weekend because Saturday, me and Steve are headed to Lexington ourselves for the Scarefest convention. And we've got media passes, so we'll have to worry about, the price to get in, just the prices for any autographs or anything. I'm sure Steve won't be getting any autographs, but I may. No photo ops or anything like that. I will have to see how the land lays as far as getting some footage inside of Scarefest. I'm not getting any photo ops, so hopefully my mind will be a lot freer and thinking clearly and not be thinking, oh, I'm going to meet so and so and get a picture with them in so many minutes or so many hours or whatever. I won't be distracted by all that. In any event, though, I'm planning on recording before and after Scarefest and getting mine and Steve's thoughts on what we think about it before going and what we think on the way home. And we're going to be meeting up with Candace and Chris at some point and going out to lunch with them and all that good stuff. We're going to go to the Mongolian Grill. There used to be a Mongolian Grill in Louisville, and Steve's going to be like, oh my gosh, here she goes again, that I loved. But they closed it and opened a Boom Boss Pizza and an AT&T store right beside it. So the Mongolian Grill in Louisville is no more, but they do still have one in Lexington. Okay. So that's all the housekeeping stuff. And now we'll move into the discussion of, was Fulci the true and undisputed Godfather of Gore? And Steve, if you can, I'd like you to, throw in your 2 cents worth or 10 cents worth or whatever. I'm warning people now, if a few more people don't show up, if it's just me and Steve, this ain't going to be very long, but at least I'm putting content out there, and I'm trying to put interesting content out there. It could be that people are busy, people are working, people are doing this, that, and the other, doing things with their family or whatever. Or maybe, just maybe, I'm not doing as good a job as I used to promoting things. That could be a possibility as well. But here's where I stand on the Godfather of Gore moniker in relation to Lucio Fulci. I think it truly fits the man. Now, I do agree with Steve that Herschel Gordon Lewis was doing gore, but I don't think he was doing Fulci gore, if that makes any sense at all. Because like things like Blood Feast that Herschel Gordon Lewis did, yeah, there was gore, but I don't want to say it was over the top, because some of Fulci stuff is over the top as well. But and Herschel Gordon Lewis may have designed it this way, but it was clearly, fake stuff all the way. A animal tongue being pulled out of a woman's mouth, and it's supposed to be her tongue. You know, limbs were cut off and things like that. But I always thought, it's not that I didn't think Herschel Gordon Lewis's stuff wasn't fun. It was fun. But I think that Fulci, and y'all can feel free to disagree with me on this, I think that Fulci took his craft a little more seriously than Herschel Gordon Lewis did. Herschel Gordon Lewis was kind of like splat stick. type of, let's see how much blood we can throw up on the screen. Um, let's go for the gross out factor. Um, but also, a lot of Fulci stuff did play at drive-ins, especially early on. That Gates of Hell and stuff like that, that was drive-in gold. That was drive-in fodder. That brought the audiences in. But I don't know that Fulci set out for his stuff to be grindhouse, drive-in type of stuff. I think Herschel Gordon Lewis did. I think that's what he was after. He was like that gritty, down and dirty exploitation, grindhouse, drive-in junk food, really. And in a lot of ways, I think that Fulci didn't care much what anybody thought, but I think that Fulci wanted to be taken a little more seriously than Herschel Gordon Lewis did. I don't think Herschel Gordon Lewis was interested in being taken seriously as a director, maybe as a creator of schlock. Um, and he was okay with that. I mean, I had seen interviews with Herschel Gordon Lewis, and he didn't seem to be bothered at all that his stuff was drive-in fodder, grindhouse fodder. He just seemed to absolutely have no problem with that. Stevie say Herschel Gordon Lewis for the U.S. and Fulci for the rest of the world. That's a good point. That's a good point to make. Because unless you are a dyed-in-the-wool, like, really, like, a horror fan that really takes deep dives, if you're a person that kind of sticks to surface horror, you may not even heard of Fulci or Argento or any of the other, like, Italian directors or the Spanish directors of horror. Now, I'm not saying that people like me and Steve and others that have really delved deep into the foreign horror market are any more cultured or any smarter. I'm not saying we got higher IQs. It's just that we were able to experience that for whatever reason. We ended up discovering that type of filmmaking. And some people may have only experienced the American side of things, the Herschel Gordon Lewises of the world, or of the United States. Some people may lean towards the Canadian horror. Some the Italian, some the Spanish. Some people may put feelers out for all different kinds of horror films. But I do think that Herschel Gordon Lewis set out to make gore films. I don't think he was interested in making highbrow cinema. And I don't really think Fulci was interested in making highbrow cinema. But I think down deep that Fulci wanted a little more respect than he ever got for his filmmaking. And Herschel Gordon Lewis was like, I'm going to put entertainment on the screen. If you like it, wonderful. If you don't, there's always next year, right? And like I said, although Fulci could give a shit less what someone thought of him or his movies, I do think that he wanted to be accepted as a filmmaker of merit and not just a schlockmeister, throwing, blood and guts and brains and piercing eyeballs and all that. But that truly, for fans of Fulci, that was the stuff we grew to know him by. That was his hallmark. And if we saw a movie of Fulci's, it didn't have these hallmarks, and especially if it was horror, frankly, we were going to be disappointed if we didn't get that. X-ray, perfect point. I couldn't have said it better. You say Fulci was a much better all-around filmmaker than Herschel Gordon Lewis. That being said, I enjoy several Lewis movies, and I do as well. I mean, as bad as Blood Feast is, I can still just, it's a laugh a minute. The bad dialogue, the main actress, who was really not an actress at all, who could not remember her lines and was reading everything off the furniture in a room. And it's blatantly obvious that that's what she's doing. Miss, that, oh, was it Connie? Oh gosh, I'm forgetting the main girl in Blood Feast. Somebody help me out here. Steve, X-Ray. X-Ray, you say, my favorite Lewis isn't even a gore fest. I love Something Weird, the movie. Oh, that's interesting too. I'm going to have to look that up because I can't stand it. Connie Mason, I was right. Okay. I was thinking it was Connie Mason, but then I thought, well, maybe I'm wrong on that. But so, Steve, X-Ray, are there any other directors that you would consider more of a Godfather of Gore than Fulci? Because I really really love like the alternate viewpoints on this. But like I said, I fall on the side of the fence where Fulci is the true Godfather of Gore to me. There are a lot of filmmakers that make gore films, but when I think of, you can't think of any that come to mind. See, um, well, I mean, some people could say that Cronenberg is gory. Cronenberg, especially early Cronenberg, early to middle years Cronenberg with all the body horror stuff. I mean, some people could consider him really gory. Um, I'm trying to think of somebody else that, um, you think of stuff like the Fly remake that Cronenberg did later on, and you've got, Jeff Goldblum, when he's starting to really turn into the Fly, and he has a donut and he's getting ready to eat it, and he's got Gina Davis's character filming him, and all of a sudden he just vomits all over it, and then you don't even have to see him like slurping it up. You just hear the slurping noises. I mean, some people could consider that kind of stuff to be gore. HA, you say, I mean, are we talking directors who had lots of gore in their movies? If we're talking originators of gore, probably Louis Buñuel, Andalusian Dog had some early gore. I don't think I've seen any of those. I would have to check that guy out. John Waters was the Prince of Puke. Cronenberg was the Sultan of Splatter. Yeah. Do you think, X-Ray, do you think Cronenberg was more splattery? Or do you think that Cronenberg had a sense of gore to some of his films? Yeah, John Waters being the Prince of Puke. John Waters, I'm sure, turned off a lot of people, especially with his early films, because it was just so audacious. The audacity that Waters would have when making a film, that he really wasn't afraid to show everything, warts and all, really. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Pasolini, Salo was the Duke of Dookie eating. Yeah. You know, there's gore, like the Fulci gore and stuff. And then there's just disgusting. And that's what Salo falls under for me, is just plain old disgusting. Um Steve is His Highness of Hentai. Oh man. Tell you the truth, X-Ray, I'm not sure where Steve keeps all his hentai. Um, I have yet to see it. Well, I don't really want to see it, but you know what I mean. Um, so those were good points to bring up, X-Ray. Is anybody got any more that they would like to, throw in here? Throw in the ring. His secret stash of tentacle grape films. Oh man, that's why I love when you come in here, X-Ray. I miss when you're not here because you always keep me laughing and stuff. Um, Now let me ask you guys this. I don't know if Steve is still actively watching, but like some of the Spanish stuff, like Pieces. Do you consider Pieces a splatter or slasher film, or do you consider it part gore film? Because I guess I could see it two ways. I mean, some things are pretty gory and things like Pieces. Pieces was a nasty flick. Pieces goes into areas that not a lot of films of that nature went into. I will say that. It was a total gore film. You think you're going to see Terrifier 3 tonight? Well, I think me and Steve are going to try to watch it later. Actually, you said the chainsaw scene in the shower room was legendary. Oh, yes, it definitely was legendary. I don't know if it was legendary good for everybody or legendary bad for some people. Um, you think a lot of the gore was subliminal. Yeah, I think sometimes what we think we saw is a lot worse than we actually saw and a lot bloodier. Because, like, if you talk about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Tobe Hooper film, really does not have a lot of blood in it. But people have always said that they've heard others swear up and down there was blood all over the place in that film. But there's really not. There's really not. Even Tobe Hooper said the most blood they used was when Franklin got chainsawed. So, some people may mistake a film for being a lot gorier than it actually is. Um, they actually, what I heard about that scene in Pieces, X-Ray, was that when the chainsaw supposedly cuts into the girl and cuts her in half, that was a pig, from, I guess, from a slaughterhouse that they had gotten. I mean, the poor thing was already dead, thank God. And they just, that close up shot of the chainsaw going through it is the pig. And they may have used the guts from a pig as well. Last House on Dead End Street, I haven't watched that for many, many years, but you say it was more fucked up than Texas Chainsaw. It was it was a messed up film. Yeah, Last House on Dead End Street. I need to like refresh my memory. I think the version of Last House on Dead End Street that I had was like one of those oversized DVD cases from, I believe, Barrel Entertainment, but I don't even think Barrel Entertainment is in business anymore. You say one of your new favorites? So, well, Daner loves them oversized, if you get my meaning. Well, I won't go into that on this stream, X-ray. Um, but um, I can probably give it another minute or so. But like I say, when when I'm on here by myself, I don't like to just keep going over and over and over and starting to retread the same territory. So Steve or X-Ray or anybody else that might be watching, if you want to bring something up, now is the time to do it. Um, but while you're thinking about things you possibly might bring up before I get off of here, I do want to remind everybody that there are some new things, new designs on deaditesondeck.com. I guess I could. People will be like, oh God, not again. But just trying to drum up a little, interest in the shop. So let me share my screen with you guys and gals. Here we go. So the Booga Booga Bears, I still have these available. I don't have any Booga Booga Bears in stock, but if you ask for one, I would be glad to get some more stock in. Now, the great thing about stuff that's a little more expensive, and the Booga Booga Bears are $50. You can pay in 4 interest-free payments of $12.50 through PayPal. Okay. And you can describe what design you want on your bear shirt. If you want a Friday the 13th design or a Nightmare on Elm Street design, kind of describe it in 500 words or less, or maybe that's 500 characters or less, whatever. Um, but so I have a Nightmare on Elm Street design that I had already made. Whatever you do, don't fall asleep. That is the commercial. I won't play that for you, you guys and gals. But I had also made a Jaws design. Um, and you can get your very own Booga Booga Bear complete with customizable t-shirt showcasing your favorite horror movie. Color and appearance of bear and shirt may vary. There's also my refund and return or replacement policy. We have cauldron candles. I just did the children of the candy corn, which is, of course, candy corn scented. It's orange wax and the scent of candy corn. Okay. We have Henrietta Honeysuckle. We have Christine's Fury. That's cherry cola scented. Henrietta Honeysuckle is, of course, honeysuckle. Freddy's Nightmare is marshmallow scented. The Stuff is vanilla cupcake scented. Farmer Vincent's Critter Fritter is bacon scented. Killer Clowns, Cotton Candy Chaos is, of course, cotton candy scented. And Norma Bates' Cinnamon Rolls is cinnamon roll scented. We've got Terror Time Teas. We've got England's Elderberry Spice. We got Maniac Mint, Angela's Honeybee Sting, Herbert's Folly, which is chocolate mint, Leatherface's Lemongrass, and Bates Motel Breakfast Blend. We also got the Butcher Block Teas. We've got the new Lethal Ladies Incorporated design, which is the Candace and I's combined entity, I guess you could say, for the conventions when we start selling at conventions in Horror Hound next March. It just doesn't matter. Empowerment and positivity on YouTube. As promised, the Be Kind to One Another and Blaze That Trail shirt is now available. Spooky Dog Horror Mashups. This is actually the more Spooky Dog Horror Mashups. The Spooky Dog variants. Captain Howdy Burgers design. The exclusive Friday Foolish design. I Love Robert England. I'll soon be making some more of these, like I Love Kane Hodder that will have the hockey mask and the heart. Little Stevie Torrance. Steve can't wake up, Mrs. Torrance. The Magic design. Abracadabra, I sit on his knee. Presto changeo, now he is me. The Movie Munchies design. Deliverance Squeal Like Pigs in a Blanket. The original Spooky Dog Horror Mashups. The Werewolf Tea Party. The two-sided tea I've got right now. And the two-sided teas are $30. The single-sided teas are $20. Okay? So, just wanted to show you guys that. No, I've never called Steve my Booga Booga Bear X-ray. No. Honeysuckle, yes. I do have honeysuckle scented candles. And the candles are $20 a piece. The teas are $15. T-shirts, single-sided are $20. Double-sided are $30. And I'm soon going to be having some mouse pads, tumblers. I've got some frosted glass tumblers with bamboo tops and glass straws that I just got in. I also have the stainless steel tumblers. And there's going to be other things coming down the pipe, just not yet. Eventually, hats will be on there. But for those of you that saw the fruits of my labor, the first hats I tried to do, I was not really impressed with those. So I'm going to have to get another game plan in place for the hats before I start selling them. And I guess I've almost went on for about 40 minutes. And by the time I get off here, it will be over 40 minutes. But I want to thank X-Ray and my dear husband, Steve, who were in here tonight chatting along with me as we went through another apples and oranges and discussed, was Fulci the true Godfather of Gore? If you didn't get to watch it live, you can watch it on the replay. It will be on YouTube. For those of you that were watching and didn't feel comfortable being in the chat or maybe couldn't get into the chat, I thank you for watching. I thank people in advance who will watch this on the replay. I want to thank everybody who continues to support my channel and the Deadites on Deck shop at deaditesondeck.com. And I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a great, fantastic, wonderful rest of your Thursday evening. And it's Friday tomorrow. And for many of us, that will be the end of the work week. I'm going to kick out the jams and enjoy myself on Saturday at Scarefest. Hopefully, I'll have lots of video to show to you guys and gals when I return. And if you're going to be at Scarefest, stop by and say hey. And I'm out of here for now, but I'll see everybody next time.